here we go. All right, we're streaming. Woo! All right, everybody, we are streaming, and my internet, my super fast internet that I pay a fortune for, is telling me that we're just not quite fast enough. Kind of crazy. And, it only requires about 3 meg upload to do a stream to like Facebook or YouTube. I've got a gigabit internet, and I'm the only one on it in here, and yet for some reason, last couple of weeks, they complain we're not giving enough output to get on there properly. So we're on there, of course, and it's good enough, but it's barely good enough. And considering how big our platform is, it should be, we should be able to stream out 100 of these things at the same time. And for some reason, we're getting issues when we stream one. But what are you going to do? All right, so...
You think you can ever get Comcast on the phone to talk to them about it?
We should get them on the phone while we're on the air.
There we go.
That would be fun.
That'd be fun. Today's my last day of DirecTV. I got my Chromecast dongle.
Nice.
So
look at it. I'm looking
TV.
at this now. Ready? Stream status. It says adjusted data rate due to low internet bandwidth. Please reduce frame rate and/or frame size. Current upload 1.57 megabits a second. Now, mind you, I have gigabit up and down, and we can't break 2 megabits when they need between 2 and 3 typically. And we've got gigabit Ethernet.
Now, the stream on your Facebook page looks fine, but
sure,
it's kind of funky on my screen.
It's wacky stuff. As long as it looks good there, as long as it sounds good, because it's really an audio podcast anyway. But we like to do it here live and have some fun. And today we're going to talk about something fun. We're going to talk about TikTok. TikTok, you don't stop.
So you've been using it, huh?
Well, I'm starting to use it. I'm starting to get clients on it and everything. But we'll talk all about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Okay.
All right. With that, let's not hold these poor people up any longer. Let's hit that theme song in a second. Let's do our little intro. Get the show on the road. Get things moving. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to tackle TikTok. What does it mean for you? Is it something you should be using? Is it good for business? We're going to find out in just a few minutes. And today's episode is definitely good for business if you're using FreshBooks. That's right, FreshBooks allows you, I'm pointing at you, and if you're only on audio, I'm still pointing at you. This allows you to do things like send invoices, send what's the word I'm looking for, Steve? Proposals. We can send proposals. We can send estimates. We can do all sorts of things. We can collect money. We can collect credit cards so that you can charge every single month for your products. You can get paid faster and easier and get those invoices out there when you use FreshBooks. I switched from my platform of choice before to FreshBooks, and I have not looked back. It is amazing stuff. You want to get started? You can do it completely free. You don't even have to put in a credit card. Just head on over to raiselinks.com/FreshBooks, and you'll be able to sign up for a free account, 30 days, test it out, get your stuff in there, send some invoices, see how it works for you. I find it to be absolutely amazing, the best program I've ever used for doing things like sending invoices and proposals and collecting money and whatnot. So I hope you would enjoy it too. Check it out. Free account, raiselinks.com/FreshBooks. And with that, let's hit that song so we can get this show on the road.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
And it's the radio show about Video Marketing Madness with Ray the video guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. GoVMM.com is the homepage where you can get social and you can find the podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, where you can leave us a 5-star review. And I need a haircut.
We need 5-star reviews, even worse than haircuts.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get out there. Check us out in all those great places.
You know, one thing I learned, I used to have, this is a long time ago, I used to have hair down to my shoulders. And I found out just because you have long hair, that doesn't make you a hippie. It's more of a political thing.
I would think so. If you wear Birkenstocks and have long hair, then you're in the club.
No, you got to be a lefty. I'm in the middle. I'm left to right of center. My brother called me the world's only conservative hippie, which meant I wasn't a hippie.
I have a friend who has a YouTube channel, a guy that used to be my neighbor that I used to do some things with, and he has a YouTube channel called Black Conservative Hippie. And last I checked, he had like 1 million followers or something crazy. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Last time I really
great
talked
name.
to him, because I lived in California next to him. He was a couple houses up the road. He was just getting started with that. Didn't even know what he was doing, and now I checked out his thing recently, and he had like ridiculous amounts of followers and different platforms, and I'm like, holy cow! So he has taken it to a new level, just getting in there and doing that stuff. Whether you agree with the conservative or the hippie lifestyle, which somehow go together in his world, there, who knows? But it's certainly interesting to see how he's grown. So
the thing with the hippies I couldn't get into was the whole Mao Zedong thing. I mean, they thought he was great.
My thing was of course, hippies were before I was born, but
Yeah.
my thing was the bathing. That was kind of an issue.
The bathing, yeah. I always took a shower every day.
Just one of those things, But hey, what are you going to do? Hippie doesn't necessarily mean what it did back then anyway. It was hippie was a little bit more of an extreme lifestyle back then than it is now. Now it's more of a movement than it is a lifestyle.
I never inhaled.
But hey, you know what? We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about ticking and talking and everything in between. And, of course, this new platform, TikTok. Steve, have you checked it out at all?
No, I haven't.
It is the domain of one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is very big into TikTok, along with a lot of celebrities. But he really has. If you remember when was it on Twitter where Ashton Kutcher was the big dog on Twitter for a while, and I don't know who it was on Instagram, but The Rock seems to be the king of it on TikTok these days, and there's plenty of other celebrities. Gordon Ramsay does a lot of stuff on TikTok now, and a bunch of others as well. But it's a new platform that is growing by leaps and bounds. You may remember a few years ago when Instagram was first becoming a big thing. And, they're at this point, they're about 1.2 billion users at this point in time. But it took them all these years to reach that point. TikTok is already starting to approach 1 billion. There are over 800 million people using it already. And to put that in perspective, if you take all the users of Twitter and all the users of Pinterest and add them together, it doesn't even equal 800 million people. So TikTok is already bigger than Twitter. It's already bigger than Pinterest. It's already bigger than LinkedIn. All of the what's the other one that was real popular for a little bit there?
Plurk.
Plurk. It's much bigger than Plurk. No, the other one. I'm trying to think of it. The one with the little ghost. I can't think of the name of it now. Snapchat. Thank you. So much bigger than Snapchat's very small compared to them. So you think about how big a deal Snapchat was, and TikTok is already nearly 10 times bigger than them as far as a user base. Now, the difference here, of course, is TikTok has a much bigger international user base. They're very big in India, oddly enough, is one of the places that they're really big. But they're huge here in the U.S. as well. The U.S. has 350 million people or so, and we have over 150 million TikTok users in America. So that's
isn't it China? It's big in China too. Didn't I read that? Or?
It's big in China, but not as big as in India. India is the biggest one.
Okay.
Now there's a little bit of confusion about TikTok because a lot of people have said, hey, it's a Chinese company, and some people have said you got to be aware of it because it's a Chinese company. It's actually not. Doing a little bit of research, it's actually based out of a Chinese company originally, and they were bought out by a company in, I can't remember what country they're in, but they're not in China. It's a different company, and they actually broke it into two pieces, one for the Chinese market and then one for outside the Chinese market. And the reason for that is because of the the censorship on
Censorship.
internet in China, they didn't want it to be the same platform. So it's basically the same platform, but it's actually separated from the rest of the world's TikTok platform. So it's interesting as far as that goes. So it does have its roots in China with Musical.ly, because actually Musical.ly, I don't believe Musical.ly is what bought the company that became TikTok, if that makes any sense. And Musical.ly was not a Chinese company, but the TikTok did come from a Chinese company originally. And so that's kind of where it's at there as far as I understand it from the research I've done. But the big research for me is the fact that it is growing so rapidly, has such a huge user base. And, you know, one of the things that people have criticized it for when it comes to marketing is, well, it's got a big user base, but it's all, 12, 14, 15, 16-year-olds. And the reality is that's a huge chunk, but it's only 40%. 60% of their market is over 18. And so that's a big deal. If you got 60% that are over 18 now, that's where your money is. The 18 to 24, 18 to 30-year-olds are very big in some markets. And then, of course, the 24 to whatever markets are big for other things. But if you're doing, small consumer item stuff, that's a perfect market. That 18 to 24, that's where you're going to make all of your money back. And if you're into local businesses and whatnot, you're going to get some of those older people in there as well now, because it is starting to grow. I mean, heck, The Rock is 50? So, he's already old, and he uses it. Gordon Ramsay's like 50. He uses it. And so, and they see the marketing potential of it as well. Gordon Ramsay does videos with his daughter, promoting, doing cooking things in short periods of time and whatnot. But it's all to drive people to their other platforms so you can make money. So with TikTok, the huge user base, the aging user base, and what I mean by that is it's slowly starting to get into the older people, the people over 18, that means that you've got a lot of opportunity. Whether you're a local business or you sell a product online, this might be a great place for you to start putting your content. Now, there's one side to that kind of hurts a lot of people, and a lot of businesses shy away from anything that requires video because they think it's difficult to do. So even Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, where you can use video in those platforms, a lot of people don't do it because they know that they've got to create these videos. It's a lot easier to make a quick post on Facebook and throw an image on there or a GIF file than it is to go and create a video and put a video on there and run it as an ad, etc. So there is that. I'm not even going to call it a barrier. I'm going to call it a self-imposed barrier because it's so easy these days to make videos that there's really no excuse for it. But people definitely have that barrier of, I got to create video if I'm going to do that. Well, get out there and create video because this platform is growing rapidly. And if you're not getting on it now, think about Instagram when it first came out. I remember, Instagram, I believe, just started as camera filters, right? It just you just could take a picture that you've taken and add filters to it. It wasn't even a social platform really at first. It was just an image processing tool. And it became this platform, and of course it grew rapidly and it grew quickly, and everyone went crazy over it, and people are making a fortune on there with their marketing and advertising. Well, TikTok is moving even faster. And if you don't see that now and you don't jump in that now, you're going to be falling behind. So it's really the opportunity right now to get in there, start using it to create content for that platform. And if you're a local business, get your stuff out there. If you're putting stuff on Instagram, put it on TikTok. If you got stuff you're putting on Facebook, video-wise, put it on TikTok. If you got stuff you're putting on YouTube, put it on TikTok. Get it out there because there's huge opportunities.
Okay, so I got a question.
Go for it.
What kind of videos should I be doing?
And that is a great question.
What kind of videos should I be doing? Yeah.
Honestly,
Thank you, Ray.
You betcha. On TikTok right now, it's mostly much more personal videos, funny videos, things like that. But it's starting to get to where a lot more normal videos are being put up there. For me, I would want to put out content that ideally is, I don't want to say entertaining necessarily, but entertaining, I guess, is for lack of a better word. So you want to put on things that are going to attract more attention, things that are silly. So come up with ideas about your business and do something kind of fun and interesting on there. But really, now's the time to experiment. I mean, we're going to be putting our regular videos on there. Our giveaway videos are going to go on there, and we're going to see how that actually works for us. Is it going to give us the results that we want? We don't know yet. What we know is we've got a platform that's growing faster than Instagram, and we know what Instagram did, so we got to act on it. But, I was listening to a couple other podcasts recently that talked about TikTok, and they said, really it's got to be that more personal content, more direct to your customers, talking to your customers, that off the cuff, grab your phone, discuss an issue and put it out there. Do something fun, put it out there. But there's a lot of other opportunities.
Can I do selfies and make them kind of fun and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you want to do. You definitely want to do that. That's what most of it is. If you go on to TikTok right now and you go through, and it's changing, but a couple months ago, if you went through TikTok, it would all be people doing dances to songs and, silly skits and, that kind of stuff. My daughter, for instance, there's actually, on TikTok, you can do this thing where you take a song and you slow it way down, and then you do a dance to the song, and then when you're done, it puts it back to normal speed, so it looks like you're a really good dancer, even if you were just going really slow to the beat of the music and doing the moves, and then when it comes back, it's like, you're a good dancer, and you're not. We made a bunch of those videos over, the beginning of COVID. Her and I did a lot of those. I can't dance to save my life, but here I am doing these choreographed dances because we're doing them in slow motion. So having a little bit of fun, doing things that are interesting are really the way to get attention and get people to share things and whatnot. But it's the Wild West right now. It's like getting into Instagram at the very beginning. That's what this is right now. It's an opportunity to really jump ahead. And, like I said at the beginning, Dwayne Johnson saw that and decided to become the king of TikTok immediately. So he got on there, started doing all these different things. And he does very personalized videos. Like there was one with just him sitting with his daughter, and they were watching, what was the cartoon that he was in, the Hawaiian one? I can't even think of the name of the movie, where he played like the big Hawaiian god guy. And he was trying to convince his little baby daughter that it was actually him singing in the movie, and she didn't want to believe him, So like little silly things like that. Gordon Ramsay and his daughters dancing while making food, just things that are a little more interesting, a little more fun. But that doesn't mean you can't put more serious stuff in there. Mix it up a little bit, test it out, see what works. You may find that, catering certain things to a certain age is going to do better than others. You have to experiment, and now is the time to experiment. Get in there, start doing something, see what happens, build an audience. And by the way, right now, it's actually fairly easy to build your audience because it's not like some of these other platforms where you get held back a little bit. You're out there. You put your stuff in there, it's going to get out there, and you've got just as good a chance as anybody else for people to start following you and doing things based off of that. So, it's just a place you got to get into right now. And who knows? We don't know where it's going. A year from now, we might be laughing because nobody uses it anymore, like MySpace or Plurk. So we don't know. But what we do know is that if you've already got content, why aren't you putting it onto the hottest video platform right now, the one that's growing rapidly? The worst that could happen is you spend a few minutes putting your stuff on there and you don't get something out of it. But my guess is, just like with Instagram, you're going to see that this is the up-and-coming platform that's really going to make a difference. And by the way, if you don't know this part, YouTube is actually in the process of creating a new platform to compete with TikTok directly. So it's going to have those same types of short video features that go in there. It'll be, I don't know if it'll be inside YouTube or a totally separate program or how that's going to work yet, but they are putting something together right now. You may remember Vine from a couple years ago. Vine was huge for a short period of time. Twitter bought them, and then it just kind of disappeared, which is kind of a lost thing. So this is kind of replacing Vine at this point in time and doing the same types of things.
Withered.
Yeah, it
withered on the vine.
It withered on the Twitter vine, no doubt about it, unfortunately. But that was a big thing for a short period of time. TikTok, much bigger, much, much bigger, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. So what I would suggest for you is start creating content that you can use in multiple platforms. You don't necessarily have to use it only on TikTok. You can create products and you can put it on TikTok. You can put that stuff on Facebook. You can put it on Instagram as long as it's short enough. And you can really start to build an audience in a new location. Get your links in there. Instagram, for instance, does not allow you to use links, yet people make money on there all the time. People do really well on Instagram, even though you can't have a clickable link in your post. So why can't you do well on TikTok? The audience is almost as big. It's probably going to overtake Instagram in a couple of months. If it keeps going at this pace, it might overtake Instagram. But it's getting close to catching it at this point, and that's huge. So you really have an opportunity to do something big here if you can get in on it now and become the brand in your area. Now, for local businesses, that's great. If you sell product and services, this is your chance to really hit not only a big audience, but a big international audience. A local carpet cleaner may not care that there's a bunch of people on there from India, but if you sell something online, like through Amazon, and you're using TikTok, you now are opening yourself up to an entire other market that might otherwise have never known about your stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And really, in both markets, there's a lot of opportunity. But if you want to get into overseas stuff, that's a huge part of the market. No doubt about that. And Steve, you have something you want to say?
No, I just think it's pretty cool. Well, I was going to make some kind of joke about Meerkat, but I didn't. I'm not going to.
Yes, Meerkat was another one. That one kind of just died on the vine as well. And of course, Twitter also had, Periscope, and they kind of, Twitter seems to be the place where you buy things and let them go to die. For whatever reason.
Is Periscope, is it still there?
It still kind of exists. It's with Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter, like I said, Twitter seems to be the place to. Oh, it was huge. Huge. But it didn't. It just kind of got sucked up and crushed. And Meerkat, it basically beat out Meerkat, and then Twitter bought Meerkat and basically, all but killed it. And so that killed the whole, and then Facebook Live came out and took over the whole market for live video anyway, so it didn't matter. There was, not much need for Periscope and Meerkat when you've got Facebook Live. So, and Facebook's trying to do that again with their new thing. They've got these new rooms, and they're trying to take over the Zoom/Skype market. And, Zoom may be a fatality of that. We'll see. Zoom, of course, had that security issue a couple months ago, and so now people are afraid to do that. I've actually talked to people that won't use Zoom now. They said, no, we can't. We don't use Zoom anymore.
Well,
so Facebook may take that away too.
I do a podcast as a way to get my foot in the door called Ask the Expert with Steve Sleeper.
Yes.
And I ask personal injury attorneys, roofers, and plumbers. I tell them I'd like to interview them. And I do it via Zoom. And everybody uses Zoom. Now, it's not a huge cross-section of businesses. I wouldn't say it's statistically relevant, but I've probably interviewed 50 people so far, and every single one of them are using Zoom. And I'm talking plumbers and roofers. They're using them for things.
Oh, sure.
So that they can do bids and stuff without going out to the house. So my perception is that Zoom is still the leader, but Facebook getting into that. Of course, Google has with live events. So, we'll see what happens with Zoom. And I know as soon as Zoom really took off because of COVID-19, because of the pandemic, then all of a sudden there's a lot of press out there about the privacy issues. And if somebody's got a link, they can see what you're doing and things like that. And okay.
Well, I'm sure they will address that. I'm not too worried that somebody sits in and sees me, telling somebody.
Well, I think they have.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably have. No.
Yeah, I think they probably have. Now, for me, what it sounded like was an unlisted YouTube video. You got to have the link to be able to watch it, but it's not actually out there. It's pretty tough to find, So
yeah, it was much ado about nothing, really. I can't, I don't even see how anybody could possibly, intercept that unless they're already spying on you in another way and can see the link on your screen because they're already recording everything you do. Who knows? But I just don't see. The Russians are spying on me.
I'm sure they are. it is the Russians and the government. That's why I'm not, well, I take my tinfoil hat off before we start the show because I don't want you to think I'm crazy.
Yeah. Well, John says that he doesn't quite get TikTok. Lots of kids, young folks, and it doesn't make sense to him. You know, John, I said the same thing about Instagram, and I still do to an extent, but I know that this is a platform where you can put out videos and people will see them. And to me, that's what really matters right now, is getting that content out in front of people, getting your name out there. And in those videos, you've got the link back to your site, you got your phone number, you got whatever you want on there. So, that's just the opportunity. And John also asks, what's a good podcast platform for beginners? Because that's another thing too. You gotta be getting yourself out there in a lot of different ways. And as far as podcast platforms, really, we kind of do it all ourselves, Steve.
Well,
Blueberry,
it depends. Well, Blueberry's good if you're WordPress. If you have a WordPress blog or website, you want to use Blueberry. You've got to publish it somewhere, and it's going to be a website. Everything else is probably Libsyn.
Yeah, Libsym's a big one. Blog Talk Radio, which we used to use, is another one to get started on.
Nah, go Spreaker. Spreaker bought Blog Talk, and you can actually go live. You can stream live on Spreaker. Blog Talk is $40 a month, and you got to put up with ads on their homepage and stuff. Spreaker is $7 a month, and it's a better platform. You can't call into it. That's one thing Blog Talk has. You can call into it and get on the show. But Spreaker bought it. They're much better, and that's a good platform as well. And they offer the live streaming and also traditional podcasting as well.
Yeah, and the big thing here is, you got to get yourself everywhere. So if you're going to be out there, you're going to be trying to get attention, you got to be on YouTube, you got to be on Facebook, you got to be on Instagram, you got to be on Pinterest, you got to be on, all the blog networks, you got to be on the podcast networks, you got to be on TikTok, you got to be on everything. And TikTok is the newest one, but it's got a lot of influence. It's hot right now. It's the place you really got to be. And if you're, like I said, if you're going to be, if you're going to be creating videos and posting them for a client on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube, why wouldn't you just put it on TikTok as well? Create an account for them, get it out there.
Yeah.
No reason not to.
Oh, yeah. Well, while we are Blueberry and our homepage is govmm.com, which is a WordPress site, we are feeding out to all the podcatchers, so Apple Podcast, iHeart, etc.
Yeah.
And but then I put it on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. It's on a bunch of other places. And so with whatever your podcast platform is, it's going to have an RSS feed that you can put out to all the podcatchers. And there's a list of what I think are the most popular ones, podcatchers on govmn.com. But then you want to get it out to as many social medias as you can.
Absolutely. And, the great thing about this is an ever-changing world. I mean, this is the 10th time we've had, some new platform that's popped up. And some of them have done really well. Some of them have vanished overnight. Some of them have done great. Some of them have done poorly. Some of them, had mixed results. I mean, you look at Twitter. Twitter gets so much attention. And people talk about Twitter like it's such a big deal and everything. But they're a tiny number compared to these other ones. Twitter only has like 224 million people, which is a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But Facebook has, like 2 billion. YouTube has 1.5 billion. Instagram has 1.2 billion. TikTok has 800 million. So really, where are you going to spend your time and efforts? You got to put it where the biggest number of people are. And right now, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are really the biggest ones.
Well, what I think Twitter is good for are the politicians, Trump on one side, AOC on the other. That certainly gets a lot of attention. News organizations, their reporters tweet out there, and that's a good place for it. At one time, when I was still in the banking world and Twitter was brand new, I had, and I still do, I never got rid of it. It's just I don't think anybody pays attention to me anymore. But marketing directors at banks, that's we followed each other. Of course, I wasn't a marketing director at a bank. I was selling to them, but I had friended, or what do you call it on Twitter? Is it friending or, gosh?
Following.
Anyhow, I had following, connected, whatever you want to call it, with bank and credit union marketing directors and CFOs and presidents and stuff like that, and vendors. And so we were always exchanging information there, and that was good for that. But I think from, let's say a retail standpoint, a storefront, or if you're selling products or something like that, I agree with you. I think you're better off on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Plurk. Okay, Plurk's a joke.
Get it in there, though. Why not? All right.
I know.
And with that, it's time to plurk our way out of here, I think. We've talked enough about this little platform. It is time for you. And if you're just listening, I'm pointing at the camera to everybody in the audience. It's time for you to get out there and start posting your stuff to the new platform. TikTok, it's where to be. It's where to be, man.
It's time to get jiggy with TikTok.
That's right. It's time to tick with your talk and get out there. Get those videos into that program. And by the way, one thing that should be mentioned, TikTok, there's one thing before we go. TikTok has the same syndrome that Instagram has, and that is that it is primarily a phone-based product. And if you've ever tried to do things with Instagram, like uploading videos and everything, you have to use your phone, or you have to have funky software that kind of fools it into thinking you're on your phone. And TikTok kind of falls into the same category. So, what I do with TikTok right now is I actually transfer my videos to my phone and then use the phone app to TikTok it out there. We do have a new program that we just started using the other day called Video Tick, and that allows you to schedule that stuff out, but you still have to use your phone. But it allows you to get stuff in there, schedule it out, and whatnot. In fact, if anybody wants to see that, this is a great little software. You can go to raythevideoguide.com/videotick, TIK, and you'll see the platform on there. It allows you to not only create some videos, but it allows you to automate the process of getting onto TikTok. You still have to use your phone, but it is there. So it'll help you out with that. Make things a little bit easier for you.
And it's on
raythevideoguide.com/videotick.
Schedule. Okay.
And by the way, right down
earlier.
below, the first ever YouTube video was uploaded 15 years ago today. And I don't know if that news article might be a couple days old. But
I'm here at the zoo, and there are elephants.
I have watched that video many times over the years, the first YouTube video, but it was 15 years ago. I don't know if it was actually today,
amazing.
or if the article, whenever that article was posted, it could have been posted the last couple of days. I'm not sure, but 15 years ago, somewhere around today. So that's interesting.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I think it was last week. It was actually.
Yeah. So think about that. 16 years ago, there was no YouTube. We were using real video and QuickTime.
What did we do? It was tough to use. It was tough to watch videos online.
Yep, it sure was.
Challenging.
It sure was. All right. Well, with that, we've been here for about 30 years doing this podcast, I think. So we got YouTube beat by 15 years. That's not true.
Since late 80s.
That's right. Podcasting long before it was fun and exciting. Not really. We've been around, 5 years, Steve? Somewhere around there? I don't even know.
7.
7. Woo! Man, oh, man.
June of 2013.
And we still have things to talk about. That's crazy.
That's right.
We've been around for longer than most television shows.
That's right. Yeah.
Most TV shows last 3 to 5 years.
Except The Simpsons and Gunsmoke.
And WWF show.
Oh yeah.
I think they're the longest running ever in TV history.
Are they? Yeah.
So there you go.
I believe it.
And Law and Order. We haven't beat Law and Order yet. SVU's been on for 20 years. So.
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
That's a long franchise.
But we're right up there, man. We're right up there. We beat out Star Trek.
We
even.
are.
So, all right. With that,
how's that FreshBooks thing going? How's that
FreshBooks is
thing
doing
going?
good. Yeah, bring us back to FreshBooks, man. I'll tell you. Just yesterday, I got to play around with the proposal software again to send out a proposal to one of our clients. And, man, it's so cool. You go in there, you add in the product. You've already got your products in there. So if you're offering, your video editing product or whatever it is, you've already got it in there. You go in for a new client, you open up a proposal, put in the products that you're going to sell to them. It has the pricings. You put in the information into there, and you send it to them, and then they either approve it or they deny it, and you know instantly. And it's all in there. So if you ever have issues, you can go, hey, look, you said right here this is what you would do and how much you'd pay. And it's all right here. You agreed to that. And so it's in there. And then, of course, you can send them the invoices and get paid for that. And you can put their credit cards in there, so every single month they'll automatically pay you. Boom, 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 like clockwork. Tick-tock, tick-tock, like clockwork. And, of course, if you want to do that, well, guess what? You can do it right now for free, 30 days to try it out, set up some clients, send some proposals, send some invoices, even get paid. You'll get full access. You can go in there, you can set it up and get paid and still be on the free trial. I did. I got paid by 4 or 5 different clients while I was still on the free trial. And that was like I had to put them in, send them a bill, got paid, and, I was still on my free trial. And had I decided not to use it, it wouldn't have cost me anything. And you can do that right now.
Wow.
Head on over to raiselinks.com/freshbooks, and you can sign up for your free account. You don't even have to put in a credit card. Just set up the account and try it out. If you decide you like it, then you give them a credit card so that you can pay them. And by the way, it's cheaper than I was paying for QuickBooks. So go figure.
Wow.
I think we pay...
Wow.
I paid for the whole year. I think I paid $180 for the whole year instead of paying monthly. $180 for the whole year. Raiselinks.com/freshbooks. Check it out. And with that, we're going to hit that funky music one last time. And we'll see you guys same bat time, same bat channel next week.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.